Hello everybody, today I'm going to be starting on a full review of my Chuwi Hi12. A lot of you have seen the artwork I made using it on YouTube and deviantart and have been asking a variety of questions about this amazing Chuwi Hi12. I think I'll be doing this video in 2 parts, it may be 3 parts, depends on how long it gets. In this part of the video I want to cover the packaging it came in, where I purchased mine, the specifications and finally the extra accessories I bought with it. I have had this tablet since May 2016 and I use it every day, so I'd say I've thoroughly tested it out. I purchased mine direct from China using AliExpress. I know some UK sites sell these, but often it's more expensive and I didn't mind waiting for something to arrive if it means saving a bit of cash. There were a few different bundle options. I chose to have the tablet with a keyboard, high pen and glass screen protector. This cost me about £210. Each part came in its own packaging. I didn't keep the packaging for the keyboard and the high pen unfortunately, but I do have the packaging for the other 2 pieces. The Chuwi tablet itself came in a pretty simple box, very minimalistic. The box is quite strong and has a brown craft paper look to it, yet much lighter in colour compared to craft paper. On one side of the box it has the model and some specs written. Notice next to Hi12 it states it is the Stylus version and underneath it has both Windows and Android checked. This is important because the original Chuwi Hi12 was Android only, that doesn't support the high pen. Along the other side of the box it just has some barcodes. There's also the internal memories with tick boxes here. I have the 64GB one. At the time when I purchased this there wasn't 128GB and I'm not sure whether they've released it or not. On the back there's the company's details. I presume the top part is in Chinese and the bottom half is the English translation. The inside of the top lid contains a soft white foam to protect the tablet. It's very well made as I didn't notice it until I felt the squidginess. I can't quite remember what this little box was. As you can see, I still have the plastic protector in here. I never used it because, well, it came with one already installed on there. And secondly, I took that off and replaced it with a glass screen protector. So this is like an extra plastic screen protector that came with it. I'll just quickly mention here that while the plastic screen protector was on the tablet, the colour quality of the screen didn't quite come through and also the high pen put a lot of scratches on the plastic one. This long box here contained the charger and the charger line. This is the packaging for the glass screen protector. At the bottom it claims it is scratch resistant. While I haven't attempted to test this with, let's say, a sharp object such as a key, I did find that using the high pen on this meant a scratch-free gloss screen, unlike the original plastic protector which got a lot of scratches from the high pen on first use. It then shows a fingerprint icon with a line slashed through it. I don't think anti-fouling is the correct word here. A quick Google search showed it meant preventing the growth of organisms on underwater surfaces such as the underside of boats. However, the picture Chuwi have associated here with this word seems like what they meant to say was the glass screen doesn't get fingerprint marks on it. Nevertheless, I'm constantly wiping with a dust cloth because I get visible fingerprint marks on it all the time. Next we have explosion proof. I don't plan on exploding my tablet anytime soon as I guess I'll never know if it's true. Although I have a feeling they meant anti-shatter maybe? Not sure. The final 3 icons tell us it's easy to install, 9H and HD. Across the back there is a set of instructions on how to install it. It opens up like a book where you'll notice a dense foam border, approximately 1 cm wide and half a centimetre in depth. And here it is, the Chuwi Hi12. You can see it's a very high gloss screen as it reflects my room so well. On the back there's the Chuwi logo and the Intel Inside logo, and finally a couple of details about the Chuwi. It's got a matte feel to the back which is smooth to touch and a lovely metallic grey colour. This is definitely a full metal shell. The camera here is a 5MP while the front contains a 2MP camera. Now the keyboard I received with the Chuwi is a piece of junk. It would have cost me about £50 if I wanted to buy separate, so I felt I was getting a deal when I bought it with a bundle. Unlike the Chuwi, which has a metal shell, this has a plastic shell. which does in fact feel really nice. It feels like it might have a super smooth rubber layer to it. At the base it has 4 anti-slip rubber pads, and here is the swivel part which the Chuwi connects to. Both the connection on the keyboard and the 2 slots on the Chuwi contain magnets for each connection. The 5 pins in the middle is how the Chuwi powers the keyboard, so you don't need any batteries or any charging. It kind of looks like a crappy mini laptop. I really don't like the design of this keyboard. The bar at the top hasn't been painted the same colour as the rest of the keyboard, making it look really cheap. The base is also fitted with 16 rather large screws. My MacBook Pro, which is a 15-inch, only needs 10 tiny screws. And on top of that, let's not forget to mention how heavy it weighs. It's almost the same weight as the tablet itself. I understand the tablet gets its weight due to the fact it contains a rather large lithium battery as well as other components. A standard AAA battery powered wireless keyboard weighs for a lot less in comparison, so I wonder what's exactly inside this keyboard. Nevertheless, on the plus side, the keyboard has 2 full-sized USB ports, one on each side, which sounds good on paper, but as far as I remember they have their own problems, which I'll get into a little bit later in the video. Let's see what connections we have with the Chuwi itself. First off, we have the micro SD card slot. Next to that we have a full-sized USB port. Then there's a micro USB port, which is what's used to charge the Chuwi Hi12. Then we've got another full-sized USB port. Then comes a little mic, and then we've got a mini HDMI port. And finally there's a socket for the headphones. If we turn around the tablet a little bit, they have written each one along the back. To the other side of the tablet, it just has the speaker grills and nothing else. Along the top of the tablet we have 2 buttons, one for the volume, minus and plus, and then there's a power button. Let's take a closer look at the Hi-Pen. Specifically speaking, this is the Hi-Pen H1. Chuwi have since released H2, but the specifications on the H2 don't state whether it is pressure sensitive or not. It features the right and left click buttons along the side and a handy clip like any ballpoint pen at the top. It's made of a fully metal shell like the tablet and does quite happily attach to the magnets at the bottom of the Chuwi. It's nice and slim and nicely weighted, even with a battery inside. It feels very comfortable to hold, almost like a standard ballpoint pen. The top unscrews so that the battery can be replaced. It requires a quadruple A battery. I've had to replace mine once in the past 6 months. Unfortunately, not many UK shops stock quadruple A batteries, however I was able to order a pack of 2 Duracell ones from Amazon. Now let's move on to the extra accessories that I bought for my Chuwi Hi12. I purchased this from AliExpress as well. It's a silicone casing. Unfortunately, even though it claims that it's supposed to be up to 12 inches, it didn't quite fit, so I had to cut off a little part so that it would stretch and fit on. On the front side you'll also see that I've cut a little corner out. This is just so that I could see the charging light when it's charging. The second item I bought for this is a stand. Now this stand is quite handy. It comes with 2 hinges and it's quite tight so the hinges don't move that easily, which is great when the tablet is sitting on it. What's amazing about this stand is that it can fold into many different positions. This allows me to have a comfortable angle. It's also got an anti-slip rubber part on one of the sections, which stops it from moving around when you're drawing or whatever it is that you might be doing on the tablet. One of the more expensive accessories that I bought for my Chuwi Hi12 is this 4TB USB hard drive from Seagate. It cost me about £110, but it was totally worth it. I can use it with both my MacBook Pro as well as my Chuwi Hi12, and it makes transferring large amounts of data easier. In size comparison, it's quite small and very portable. Now let's switch on my Chuwi Hi12. To switch it on, just hold and press the power button for a couple of seconds. The little orange charge light should flash once, and then you'll be asked whether you want to boot up into Windows 10 or Android. Now to select which option you want, just use the volume keys. One is for the Windows 10 and one is for the Android. I'm just going to log into Windows 10 first. I find Windows 10 on this loads up a lot faster than the Android. For some reason I'm waiting a few minutes on the Android. As it's Windows 10, you'll need to sign in using your Windows ID. When I started my Chuwi Hi12 up for the first time, I had to go through Windows 10 setup wizard thing. It was okay, it didn't take very long, it was quite nice and quick. I'll quickly run down on a couple of specs here. The screen is a 2K Retina display with 400 lumens of brightness. I never actually use it on full brightness. I usually use it on 0% actually. It's a very bright screen, and if you happen to be outside on a very sunny day, 100% brightness is more than enough to be able to clearly see the screen. This Chuwi Hi12 is equipped with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of memory. Now you can also expand the memory up with the memory card slots up to 128GB. But like I said, you can go out and buy a USB hard drive. I've got a 4TB one and it works smooth. Built into the system is the Intel X5 Cherry Trail processor with 1.84 GHz of speed. I'd say it's sufficient enough for an artist like myself. I don't really do anything 3D or, high tech. If I want to do anything high tech, I just move over to my MacBook Pro. The only thing I ever really do on my Chuwi Hi12 is use Clip Studio Paint, and on the Android side of things I sometimes play games when I'm trying to chill out and stuff. Chuwi also claim that this is a great gaming tablet, although I've never really tested this as I don't play any high-end games or anything. I normally stick to very simple Android games. Chuwi state on their website that this tablet can go for up to 8 hours. Now, while I found that this is relatively true with the Windows 10, I can't say the same for Android. Android seems to only last me about 2 to 3 hours at most. I don't know why it is that Android drains the battery life so much, but Windows 10 I can easily go for around about 7 hours using Clip Studio Paint and maybe a little bit of internet browsing as well at the same time. I'm not sure how long the battery life would last if I was watching YouTube videos all day. Similarly, it takes just as long to charge up. I usually leave mine overnight so then it's ready for the next day. Let's head into the most used software that I actually use on this tablet. It's the Clip Studio Paint, and I absolutely love this software for drawing. In my next video I'll go into more detail with each application and software and how they perform on this tablet. For now we'll just play around with Clip Studio Paint just so that you can see how the Hi Pen performs. As mentioned earlier, the Hi Pen is nice and slim. This is very unlike the Wacom Bamboo and, well, the other Wacom range really. The majority of the Wacom range are very thick towards the nib and then they taper up a little bit towards the top. This can feel a little unnatural compared to a normal pen. But the Hi Pen one I felt very comfortable and right at home. Because I was more comfortable with holding the pen, I also felt I had more control over my lines. The Hi Pen one has 256 levels of pen pressure, which is a lot less compared to my Wacom Bamboo. My Wacom Bamboo I believe comes with 1024 pressure levels, but when I actually use the Hi Pen I don't see much difference. I still have quite a lot of control over the line, and unless I start using a crazy brush size for drawing, let's say a 500 pixel brush size, which I don't know why you would draw lines with this, you just don't notice much difference. Now what I find really amazing about this tablet and pen is that while Wacom have only just recently started fixing the parallax between the pen nib and the cursor on the screen, the Chuwi Hi12 does it wonderfully. The cursor sits directly underneath where I put my pen. One of the disadvantages that the Chuwi has over the Wacom cintiq range is that you don't have the hover cursor. But because the parallax is virtually non-existent, you don't really notice any problems with getting your lines in the right place. I don't experience much lag with the lines. I feel that the lines keep up with my pen as I go along. Now of course if you like really scribbling really fast, then you do notice a little bit of slowness there. To be honest, when you're drawing, you don't really draw fast enough to notice that the line isn't catching up to you. The pen also picks up the lightest of pressures, which is really good for such a cheap tablet and such a cheap pen and such a low pressure level. The palm rejection is very different with each software and each application. On Clip Studio Paint it's quite good, but sometimes I find that the page moves around when I'm not wearing my art gloves. Both surfaces of the Bamboo and Chuwi are smooth, but because the Chuwi is more gloss, my hand easily slides across the screen when drawing. and Chuwi are great for those who want to write or artists like myself who draw as a hobby. I've never been a professional artist, but I imagine those who are would require something faster. I want to show you how the Hi-Pen compares to the Wacom Bamboo. I've connected my Bamboo to the Chuwi and downloaded the necessary drivers. Holding the Wacom Bamboo pen is definitely a fair bit lighter than the Hi-Pen, but the thickness of the pen means I'm having to concentrate more on my strokes as I'm feeling a little uncomfortable holding it. In terms of pressure sensitivity, both pens seem to perform the same. With both the pens, the larger the brush size is, the more the pressure sensitivity struggles to produce a smooth line. However, if you look closer, the lines produced by the Hi-Pen look neater while the Bamboo seems to have a bit of a wobble. I definitely feel I have more control when using the Hi-Pen. It could be down to the fact that the Bamboo is a few years old, therefore older drivers, older technology. So I'm not sure how it would compare with, let's say, an Intuos Pro or something, more recent. What I can compare with, however, is the brand new cintiq Pro with Pro Pen 2, featuring 8,192 levels of pen pressure, and believe me, you can tell the difference. On the other hand, in the UK it's approximately £784 price jump to own a cintiq Pro, and of course it's got its downfall compared to the Chuwi, which I will cover in another video. This tablet has the benefit of running a full Windows 10 system, so you can pretty much install any compatible software on here. That's not to say that you can run everything smoothly. Intel X5 Cherry Trail can only handle so much, but majority of the art programs I've tested were either excellent or sufficient. Let's take a quick peek at the Android side of things. Android takes twice as long as Windows to load. You would have thought it would be the other way around, right? One of the apps I have downloaded a full version of on here is the Autodesk Sketchbook. The pen pressure works similarly to Clip Studio Paint. Of course there is more of a limit in terms of options because of difference between a small Android app and a full-blown Windows software. But this is perfect for times when you want to use a lighter app for sketching or putting ideas together. This tablet is primarily used for my digital artwork, but occasionally I do play Android games. I don't play any intensive games, so I can't comment on those, but simple ones like Monster Raid are smooth and fast on this. It might be worth mentioning, with it being a 12-inch screen, some games have beautiful graphics, like this one here, while other games can sometimes look blurry and pixelated because the game may have been designed for a smaller screen size. I found that a major downfall of the Android system is that no matter whether I play games or use a drawing app, the battery drains twice as fast as Windows. The charger which was provided included this 2-pin wall adapter and a USB to micro USB cable. The cable was obviously a very cheap one because after about 3 weeks I found myself having to play around and position the cable in an exact bent position in order for it to charge. I replaced it with this magnetic fast charge cable. Not only has it lasted 6 months so far, but also noticed it completed charging in 1.5 hours faster than before. I also don't like the idea that with being in the UK I have to connect a 3-pin plug to the 2-pin plug, so what I've done is I've just gone and bought a 3-pin plug that connects to the USB line directly. So now about the ultimate question you're asking me is, do I like this Chuwi Hi12? And the answer is I love it. It's so cheap, it totally might not compare with the £2,000 Wacom MobileStudio Pro, but for the price, it is quite close. The cheapest MobileStudio Pro is equipped with Core i5 and 4GB of RAM with 64GB of memory at the cost of approximately £1,500, which is quite similar to the Chuwi, except Chuwi is using Intel X5 processor that isn't that bad compared to Core i5, plus it's only £150. And then that leads me to the next question. Is it worth blowing out an extra £1,350 to buy a Wacom MobileStudio Pro, which has almost identical specs? I know Wacom's Pro Pen 2 comes with a lot higher pressure sensitivity, and also the fact that it can be used like a cintiq Pro by simply connecting to your main computer with an extra Wacom link. But £1,350 is a massive jump in price compared to the few extra features of the MobileStudio. For someone like me who loves art and makes small money from it because I do it in my spare time, so it's more of a hobby for me, would be wasting a whole load of money by purchasing a MobileStudio Pro. For a professional working in the art field, would definitely go for the MobileStudio Pro because even those small extra features will help them a lot. But I do wonder, with companies like Chuwi upping their technology and upping them fast, maybe someday Wacom will have to reconsider their prices, as competition in the graphics display industry is only just warming up. That's all for this video. Be sure to watch my next Chuwi video, as I will go through a lot more detail with how various programs and apps perform on the Chuwi. This will include Photoshop, Clip Studio Paint, Paint Tool Size, Sketchbook, Painter, Medibang and a few others. So until next time, bye!